Well, go summon. Wake the dead ones. Well, go summon. The dead ones. I said, go summon up the dead ones. From essential souls. Go summon up the dead ones. Chanting the rites of Yog-Sothoth. Go summon up the dead ones. From essential souls. Yes, go summon up the dead ones. From the pits of Agnakai. Go summon up the dead ones. But don't let it go awry. Go summon. Let it go. Don't let it go awry. Oh, children, let my story begin. We spend our solstice with kin, but throughout these cold and icy nights, just beware of family fights if you want to study ancient lore. In your family's home from days of yore, you might think you'll learn the truth you crave from your ancestors beyond the grave. Go summon up the dead ones, chanting the rites of Yog-Sothoth. Go summon up the dead ones from essential souls. Yes, go summon up the dead ones from the pits of Arachnakai. Go summon up the dead ones, but don't let it go awry. Let some old progenitor creep through an unearthly door, and this old forefather once revived. He might just want to stay alive. So before you summon anyone, go and get yourself a loaded gun. Keep your candles burning all around, and be sure that you can put him down. Summon up the dead ones. Hail Yog-Sothoth. Summon up the dead ones from essential souls. Go summon up the dead ones from the pits of Agnakai. Go summon up the dead ones, but don't let it go awry. No, don't let it go awry, or you'll die.
We're all mighty proud of, but the heart of the town is its Miskatonic University. It may not be the biggest school in New England, but there's no finer place in the world to study medieval metaphysics. It's my honor to be its head librarian. You see many folks from the university as you walk through Arkham Street, and in our small community, we always have had some special types as well. For instance, Herbert West, the mad scientist.
Those small-minded doctors have needlessly and irrationally delayed me in supremely great work. The reanimation of dead tissue is within my grasp.
Herbert, your perverse experiments are the vagary of a demented maniac and cannot be allowed to continue. Your request for the use of human cadavers is completely denied.
I warn you, Dr. Halsey, you'll regret this decision.
And Randolph Carter, the writer with the weird dreams who keeps showing up everywhere.
I repeat to you, gentlemen, that your inquisition is fruitless. Question me forever if you want. I do not know what has become of Harley Warren.
Mr. Carter, there's a telephone call for you.
And Obed Marsh, the cursed old man from nearby Innsmouth.
What are you looking at? What, you think I'm ugly? Is that it? I'll be showing ye ugly.
Then there are others in Arkham. Some live here, some just visit. The head of a local cult, some kind of horrible monster. I do not even want to know what that is. We normal folks just look the other way and try not to lose our minds. And among ourselves, we get along just fine. Well, of course, there are some who think that the magical elder sign is shaped like a star, and some who think it's shaped more like a tree. But that is all settled now. Now we just try to...
Shaped like a star with a little flame inside it.
No, it's like a tree. It's got branches coming off it.
I'm telling you, it's a star.
Use the star one and you'll be fighting off the old ones with your bare hands. It's a tree.
tentacles. Like I said, you cannot live in Arkham without coping with the Shoggoth on the roof.
She is our daughter, and we love her.
We want her happiness and joy. But here in Arkham it is hard to find a boy.
Even in Dunwich, it's a problem. Suitable lads are seldom seen. We've looked since Prudence here turned sweet 16. Arkham Dunwich, filled with haunting fears. Neighbors who hide up in the attics, inbreeding happily for years. Arkham Dunwich, ancient haunted grounds. Finding a normal man's a challenge in these benighted little towns.
Wilbur is from a well-known family, powerful, prominent, and rich.
And like the residents of Innsmouth, smells like fish.
His taste in clothing is peculiar. It's true he doesn't have good looks, but he's a scholar, always reading books.
Arkham Dunwich, ancient haunted grounds. Neighborhoods hiding many secrets, strange and oppressive little town.
Hello and welcome. My name is Colossus TV, and I'm here. I'm pissed, and I want to talk about poverty dispersion through public transportation, and how funding transportation is one of the most valuable things you can do to uplift a community. Period. I can't fucking go anywhere. I hate it.
Homeless encampments have been popping.
So we're going to talk about some recent stuff that's been happening. We've got some anti-homeless people chuds I want to take a look at. So I live near Austin, and recently the city of Austin bought a Candlewood Suites hotel, and they turned this Candlewood Suites hotel into a homeless housing project. Woo. And I think it's one of the best things our city has done so far, especially right after they implemented a fucking camping ban on our homeless population. And it's not the time to be a shelterless individual, because there's just a lot of hateful rhetoric and energy going on, and political action being taken towards those goals, and that's fucking crazy. So we're gonna watch a couple news stories. I haven't actually watched any of this stuff, especially since no one was using the hotel due to COVID. Yeah, exactly. It's the perfect time to repurpose things that are were public entertainment spaces. So let's go ahead and watch one of these current news stories. This is one about Colorado, and then we're gonna watch some stuff about the Candlewood Suites. And I got some people who are protesting
around
that.
the country in the wake of the recession caused by COVID-19. From Philadelphia to Portland, officials are working to move people from encampments into shelters. But some advocates for the homeless say the emergency shelter model isn't working. Instead, they
Oh, and Legendary, I love you too.
endorse what's called a housing first approach, giving people forced into homelessness a permanent place to live. And those advocates say the change has reduced homelessness in places like New Orleans, New York, and Colorado, where Barry Peterson reports.
Some things are obvious at this busy Denver construction site, like how these 14 units are so small, they are called tiny houses. And the not so obvious, that these tiny houses may make a
Tiny houses are tiny. Take note.
big difference in solving homelessness.
Housing solves homelessness. And so the only way that we're going to solve homelessness is to continue building housing.
How much space are we talking about here?
96 square feet. There will also be a front porch that attaches here in front of the double doors.
Cole Chandler is an ordained Mennonite minister who organized and now runs the tiny house project called Colorado Village Collaborative.
So we provide people their own space, their own four walls, their own door that they can lock, a place that they can store their things, keep their pets, and rebuild their lives.
The first 11-unit tiny house project was built 3 years ago. A shared kitchen, shower, and bathroom are all in one building.
It's tough on the streets when you don't have a place to take care of yourself and rest and do all that.
Being here offered Robert a way off the streets.
I have my own bed, I have a table there to eat and study, and my own fridge. And
dude, that looks cozy. That's
gotta enough to.
That's infinitely better than whatever was happening before for him. Housing solves homelessness. Food programs solve hunger. You know what can you do?
For a person
I guess that's how it works.
Have space to keep all their storage and stuff.
I don't know.
With 5,000 homeless in Denver, these are meant to be a transition to long-term housing, like this 31-unit apartment building in Boulder, Colorado, that was built to give the homeless a permanent place to live.
Fuck yeah.
Where we met Ray Vose, who builds electric bikes in his apartment that can sell for about $1,800.
Nice.
Oh, my word. These are the electric bikes?
This is the current project.
This is amazing.
Yeah, that one there is my daily driver right now.
What was the worst night or the worst day that you had when you were homeless, Ray?
I was sitting in a bar, spending my last $2 and change on a beer. That was called. And, you know, just remember reading stories about freezing to death.
I want to build one, but like he said, they are expensive to build. So I'm working on building a motorized one, which, you know, I just to get around town and get some groceries and stuff because I'm fucking stuck. Like I said, I don't have any way to fucking get around. Yesterday I had a moment of great frustration when I tried to go to the grocery store after about an hour of procrastinating, and the freezing rainstorm started to move in. It started misting up. I saw, you know, there's a bit of a hill going out of our apartment complex, but I had to turn around and skate right back up that hill because I just got new bearings, and I saw this, like, the headlights of the cars down past the curve just outside of my apartment complex where there was, like, misty rain. And I was just like, no. So I had to turn around, and we ended up having to spend money to get an Uber to go. And we lost money that we were going to use on some of those resources that we were going to get because we had to spend money to pay someone to go. And I had just been, like, sort of semi laid off my job, and they just brought me back again. So I'm trying to get back on my feet again, and potentially build this bike so that I can just get around town and be able to have more control And a lack of control is what a lot of people are experiencing here, you know. And a lack of control leads to drug use, wanting to take that kind of control back for yourself. It leads to violence. You know, I'm certainly more prone to shouting a bit whenever I'm, you know, constantly broke. You know, whenever like I'm being exploited by some company that is having me do work that I'm not really cut out for, you know, or generally kind of being forced to find value in the capitalist system entirely under your own guise. There's a lot of things that can't be shown to you unless you're in it, and once you're in it, it's too late, and that's pretty unfair.
You know, it's not that painful. You know, you feel warm. I was considering it.
Giving up.
Yeah.
Just going out and freezing to death.
Yeah.
Now Vose has a place of his own. Here, residents sign a lease and pay rent as a portion of any income, such as Social Security or disability. Greg Harms, CEO of Boulder Shelter for the Homeless, lays out the rules.
Just like anybody.
What a name for a guy that is extending you like a new life. His name is Harms? Really?
Else who lives
It's
in an
amazing.
apartment.
What a
If you're gonna
coinky
have
dink.
your friends over and have loud parties, that's not acceptable, right? If you're going to trash your apartment, that's not acceptable. If you don't pay your rent, that's not acceptable. As long as you meet the obligations of your lease while you're staying here, you know, you're welcome to stay.
I wonder how much
Once
rent
there
is.
is housing, then comes dealing with problems like alcohol and drug abuse, illness, unemployment.
Yes, I want to know about
There's
that.
not a requirement that you become sober. There's not a requirement that you get on your meds. There's not a requirement that you find employment, because what we found is when you put those requirements in place, then people are inevitably not able to meet one of those requirements, and their housing is in jeopardy.
And then
that's-
everything is
that's not
worse.
the goal. The goal is to keep them housed.
Yes. Fuck, keep them in houses.
Housing First has its critics. Chief among them, Robert
House
Murdoch Jr.,
people.
President Trump's executive
House all
director
the people.
of the U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness. He favors heavy policing, like that seen in cities that have dismantled homeless housing on the streets. But Housing First actually cuts down cost of police time dealing with the homeless and housing the homeless in jail. What do the studies show about the cost of housing versus the cost of law enforcement?
Well, to house somebody in a permanent supportive housing program is $15,000 to $20,000. The cost if they're on the streets is probably about $45,000. Half, less than half.
Michael Dory
You're walking
is the
very
Boulder
close to
County
me.
DA. Why
Half,
is this
huh?
better for the community?
Really wish I could
I think we're
gesture
all
more
better
widely,
served
but
having
you're
a place
right
where
there.
Homeless individuals can stay a night, be connected to resources and housing that they need, and I think that's a better long-term approach. It makes fiscal sense, and it's also more humane.
The hardest sell is to neighbors who fear violence. What do you say, then,
Ugh.
Greg, to people who look at the idea of putting something like this in their neighborhood and they're like, no, we don't want...
I say you need to fucking see it. I say you need it in front of you, especially if you're the type of person who's gonna fucking protest such a thing. You need it in your fucking face.
You know, drug users and alcoholics, and we don't want police coming all day and all night.
It hasn't been our reality. And if you look at the crime map of Boulder, the area that we're in right now is probably one of the safest and least crime reported areas in the city.
Weird. It's like, and if you take them away from an area where they're more likely to harm themselves, and you give them everything that they need on the bottom tier of the pyramid, like, yeah, their lives are gonna improve. What? There's not gonna be violence. There's not gonna be as much drug use, or like what? It almost seems like those things are related. Huh. That's so strange. Uber hit with amended class action over cancellation fees. We'll definitely read that, because we had to pay an Uber cancellation fee because usually our gate at our apartment complex is broken, and they fixed it recently, and for some reason the gate code wasn't working. And that may have been because whenever you use your cell phone inside our apartment, you don't have a cell phone signal. And we live on the edge of town. Fucking sick.
Every day in Boulder, just like across America, there are still homeless who come for a meal and a bed for a night.
They came out of India.
But with Housing First, there are more and more like Ray Vose.
I'm enjoying building these e-bikes, and I've sold one bike to a neighbor, and maybe that's something that can happen.
The point here is that there is now a chance for something to happen.
Yeah.
You look forward.
Yes, forward.
A life now with a chance to head in the right direction. For CBS This Morning, Saturday, Barry Peterson, Boulder.
The smile, the twinkle in his eye that you saw at the end there, something humane. It's cheaper than living on the street, and you're off the street.
The value you give somebody when you give them that place of permanence.
If nothing has worked in the past, why not try something?
You might try it, yeah.
So what she just said, it's cheaper than living on the street. The gate's just broken, period. Everyone living in the complex is having trouble with it. Yeah, fucking of course they are. So what she just said, it's cheaper than living on the street. And that's something we need to talk about, which is the cost of having nothing. Not the cost of doing nothing. Cost of having nothing. So the true cost of not having enough. So everything I'm finding right now is like the cost of doing nothing. Yeah, blah blah blah, like climate change. I know. But like we should talk about the cost of having nothing. Of how much like you have to pay to do everything you can do, because the only things available to you are services you have to pay for on a per use basis. So like just the fact that they have something that's affordable, it's shelter, and like you saw that place that was super cozy. If you had nothing, you would definitely take that. As soon as you had any kind of money, you like to be able to live. To be able to live. He considered freezing to death. That video's over. Next one. Austin Hotel.
Today, to be here, to be.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another huge Patriot
very
video.
Important conversation.
Weird left side only audio on this one. The next videos kind of hurt. I'll show you why. But we will. Jalen will talk about the article that you sent me whenever I get into the actual transportation stuff. First, I want to talk about homelessness, so we can look at an extreme case of poverty, and then I want to talk about like more of the finer nuance of poverty, and then I want to move into talking about how transportation actually helps with those things and like the dispersion. And you saw how that guy was building e-bikes, and he's like, I use an e-bike to get everywhere I go. That's my daily rider. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. You know, he built his own way to fucking get around. That's the kind of stuff people have to resort to. And the fact that he was given the resources to start at the bottom gave him enough to make this thing that you don't have to pay for insurance, you don't have to register it, you don't have to pay the regular costs of owning a vehicle, or observe the same. You should observe the same safety standards, but you don't have to have a license, which you have to pay for a license. You have to pay to own a vehicle. You have to pay for it to emit fumes. Like there's a costs that you pay for every single thing you get, like late fees, bank overdrafts, poor credit, vagrancy charges, etc. Yeah, those are exactly the fucking kind of things I mean. Like whenever your money dips down even a little bit, you're charged $35 on your bank account. That's fucking bullshit.
As well, our county commissioner for Precinct 2, I think the best county commissioner in all of America, Commissioner Cynthia Long, I know is somewhere near me. And for the rest of the Williamson County commissioners that heard that, you are my favorite commissioner when I'm in your precinct as well, too. Austin City Councilwoman, Mackenzie Kelly. Mackenzie is here. She's brand new to the council, doing an amazing job stepping in the middle of a firestorm. I also want to say a special thank you to our Attorney General for the state of Texas, Ken Paxton, is deeply involved in this conversation, and we're grateful for that. And one of his staff members, senior staff members, are here today to speak to that, and that's Aaron Wright. I also want to say thank you to the Texas Public Policy Foundation that is here today. They're also perhaps considering providing legal counsel to residents and business owners to help them be successful. And then two of my favorite people in this whole conversation, where's Frida at? Wave at us. This is
Where's
Frida.
Frida at?
Frida is one of the reasons we're here, because she owns Frida's Seafood and Steak next door, and there's been no one more impacted by the decisions that have been made without the conversations that have been engaged than Frida. And then RuPaul is behind me somewhere. I know she's here. Yay. RuPaul and her family, this is a wonderful picture. They own this property, and in a matter of a few days, they will be opening this property as well. But at the same time, the city is...
So you have an existing business that endorses and supports and is involved in the decisions to build this place. And, you know, oh, no, the businesses, the homeless, blah, blah, blah. You know, I mean, like, you give them the opportunity to have money. What are they going to do? They're going to take a shower, you know, like after they get off work, working the jobs you don't want to work. And then they're going to, like, go to that place and they're going to fucking get something to eat, you know? And then they're going to take it to their home, out of sight, and just eat. And then they're going to go to sleep and they're going to work and they're going to keep striving to change their life. Because nothing makes you work harder than having nothing. And I'm thankful to have never reached the point of truly, like, I've never been homeless, you know, but I've come close. And that's fucking scary. And nothing makes you work harder than that.
Made a $9.5 million decision to affect the value of their property by what they're doing next door. So I want to work through the list and allow all of these individuals, they'll only have a couple of minutes. And at the end, I'll have a comment or two, and then Senator Schwertner will close. And then Senator Schwertner and I will address any questions that you might have. First, I want to invite up, and by the way, our sheriff, Mike Gleason, where's our sheriff at?
Where's our sheriff at?
Somewhere.
Sheriff?
Sheriff is over on the corner doing a heck of a job. See, that's what happens in Williamson County. We protect our people, and that's what our sheriff is doing. And I want to say thank you to Sheriff Mike Gleason. You're doing an amazing job. I first want to invite up Commissioner Cynthia Long for a few comments.
Yeah, that's what we do in Williamson County.
Thank you all for being here today. And the merit of this type of project is, for me, not what this press conference is about. I don't even know enough.
They're going to
about
do
the
all
city of
those
Austin's
jobs.
plans to weigh in on whether this is a good
And they
bad
won't
plan.
get, and they still won't get paid enough for it. Actually, that's another case for minimum wage jobs, because you know who else needs to make a fucking living wage? People who are trying to live. Like, not only people who aren't homeless and would not like to not be that way, but people who are homeless and would like to stop being that way. You know, so like raising the minimum wage while this stuff is going on this is part of why it's so vital to make this stuff happen. Because like the fact that, you know, if they can actually succeed in getting the minimum wage raised to $15, and you've got people being housed in large cities who are now making money, they're spending money, right? And so if they're spending money, that's good for the economy. So it's just good for good things to happen to people. And any kind of person who's going to protest someone finally being able to not freeze to death, or And this isn't all of the people. There's still plenty of people stuck out in the like trying to find somewhere to camp because it's illegal while they're doing this. So it's I mean, I need to research that and see if that's still in effect, but it's the kind of thing that often happens where they're doing like a good thing on one side of it, but on the other they're just fucking up, and it just seems like the wrong, like different people are making different decisions in at the same level of power, but in different places. Homeless people work harder than most people ever will. You damn straight. Nothing is more motivating than not having a place to shelter yourself.
With nearby neighbors and with property owners about the city's proposed purchase of the Candlewood Hotel before they entered into a contract to buy it. Williamson County has worked and even obtained City of Austin's approval.
Yeah, I hope everyone is warm and cozy as well.
On road projects in the City of Austin in Williamson County. And we have spent millions of taxpayer dollars, but sought Austin's concurrence and approval before we did that. That's called respect and being a good neighbor. I called the mayor and other council members before their vote on the 27th and asked for more time. They gave us a week. On February 2nd, the Williamson County Commissioners Court unanimously asked the City of Austin to suspend work on this project for 180 days so that neighbors, local governments, and others could learn about this project, about the city's plans, and understand any potential impacts, if any. In a 10-to-1 vote, the city basically told Williamson County, take a hike. It shouldn't take an act of the legislature to force the City of Austin to do the right thing, but apparently it does. I support Senator Schwartner's legislation, which would force the Austin City Council and the city to do what they should have voluntarily done in the first place. Thank you.
Wait, I could have zoned out. She supports the thing, right? Yeah.
Next speaking is
She's like, this should have been done a long ass time ago.
And I think the best city councilwoman in the entire City of Austin City Council, Mackenzie Kelly.
Thank you very much. I'm here today as a representative of the Austin City Council.
She's my favorite, and you can fucking deal with it.
Council to show the type of transparency and communication that needs to happen across jurisdictions. I firmly believe that the City of Austin forced this plan after I requested a 1-week delay to help educate the community on the purpose of the public's permanent supportive housing project. I believe
that's a really good idea, because I'm sure they had a fucking shitload of questions, especially given the protesting that we saw. Ooh. Thank you. I just got tofu and rice. We saw people protesting immediately. They had signs out and stuff, so she probably saw this. I don't know the exact timeline, but she probably saw this, and then she got them together, and she's like, we need to have a town hall, because it's not gonna be as bad as you think.
Project is a
It's not gonna be bad.
idea.
It's gonna be nothing like you think.
But it requires much more thought and investigation and input from the community. What the City of Austin did was bamboozle these business owners and residents and force them into the position where they had to make a choice about whether or not they can stay here any longer. And
Oh wait, what? So she did it bad. So she wanted to educate them because they have to make a choice about whether or not they can stay there. They're pretty worried about the value of their property.
we don't need to have that. I'm looking forward to continued discussions between government entities, and I'm here as a representative of the community, so please reach out to me if you have any further concerns or questions regarding the project. Thank you.
And from the Attorney General's office is Aaron Wrights. Aaron, come up and spell your last name. I know these reporters are going to want to get that right.
Sure, it's R-E-I-T-Z. Thanks so much for having me. Again, my name's Aaron Wrights. Texas's Deputy Attorney General for Legal Strategy, here on behalf of Attorney General Ken Paxton. Unfortunately, he's not able to make it here. He's currently testifying before a Senate committee, but he sends his regards and solidarity with Williamson County. What the City of Austin is doing now is similar to what it did back on New Year's Eve, when in the middle of the night, without any warning, without any consultation from any stakeholders, attempted then to shut down a bunch of businesses. And fortunately, because it was a flagrant violation of law, Attorney General Ken Paxton, on behalf of the state of Texas, was able to jump into that situation and reopen businesses and prevent the city of Austin from trying to cram down last-minute policy decisions. And here we are again, whereas others have already said, at the last minute, without consulting anybody, without conducting an economic analysis, a safety and security analysis, or a health analysis of its decisions, entered into a major contract and just sort of kicked the problem up to Williamson County. It's not fair, it's not just, and it stinks. And Attorney General
Williamson County is a wealthy part of town. Having this be there, if they're worried about lowering the property prices, I will happily fucking move into anywhere these people leave. If they're like, I can't fucking do it, I'll just vacate my house, be like, I'll move in there. Or actually, no, give it to one of these homeless people. Yeah, that's a way to really house people, man. Oh, shit.
General Ken Paxton is mustering all the powers that he has at his disposal to see what legal avenues there may be to hold the city of Austin accountable and ensure that if they're going to do business like that, there's a right way to do it, and Ken Paxton is going to ensure that they do. Thank you very much.
All right, now next is one of our local business owners, and for those of you in the media, you're going to be kind to her because this is a new environment with this many cameras. Frida, come on up and spell your last name for us, and take a deep breath and just take a couple of minutes.
Okay. My name is Frida Chen, C-H-E-N-G. I have the restaurant Frida Seafood Grill right next to the Candlewood Hotel that City of Austin considered want to buy. It's going to be totally destroy my business. I'm there coming up 19 years. So please reconsider. Thank you.
And next is RuPaul. Are you ready?
Yes.
Come on.
Sir.
And spell your last name for everyone, too.
Hi, I'm RuPaul Chaudhry.
So, like, fuck her, but I'd patronize her business just to teach her a fucking lesson. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, well, so what do you think about giving them jobs? Do you want them to be able to move away from here? Because, like, the city of Austin doesn't seem to give a fuck what anyone cares at this point. Because that's the problem, is the consideration of property over people. And Austin got a really recent lesson in just how much people around here kind of care more about people than property. So they're making modifications to their policy, especially with homelessness, which is one of the greatest human crises to, you know, it's something that no person should have to face.
Chaudhary. I firstly want to thank. Sure. R-U-P as in Paul, A-L. I firstly want to thank each one of you to be here and supporting on this cold morning. I want to extend special gratitude to Senator Schwartner, Judge Bill Gravel, Attorney General, and as Councilwoman Mackenzie Kelly. They have not only stood with their constituents, but they have stood tall. They have heard our concerns, and they have really helped us, and reestablish the belief that we can go knock on the door when there is a problem. Our businesses have been here since 2007. We are currently opening Homewood Suites. My in-laws have invested their livelihood. This was their retirement, and Mayor Adler and council members chose Candlewood arbitrarily. We are not against homeless. What our problem is a location. And you can say permanent supportive houses, you can reestablish that apartment complex.
What's the right location? What's the right location, RuPaul? Huh? Like you've got a group of people here who don't have like anything. Sure, like you've been invested a lot. Great. And yeah, they're using her because they've brainwashed her to be unable to see the ways. Hey, submissive Pinky Promise, thank you for the follow. She's been brainwashed by this group of like lobbyists to not be able to see the ways this will help her business, will help humanity in general. Everyone's just like, oh, homeless are going to reside near me. I am going to suffer. That's all they ever fucking think. That's all they ever fucking care about. I'm so sick of this. And yeah, I feel for her, but also it's not their fault. It's the fault of gentrification and them being pushed out. Homeless shelters not providing services in a means that's satisfactory. It's just it's so much of the usual. Rational Dove and Submissive Pinky, to answer your question, we are talking about poverty, homelessness, and public transportation. So first, we're going to talk about some homeless housing news that's been going on recently. Colorado recently is doing a tiny home project. They're housing a bunch of people in tiny homes. They're seeing nothing but benefits from it. We've talked about how it boosts local businesses. It gives jobs because people are able to work. They're able to work the jobs that you don't want to work because they have nothing. And like just to be able, how valuable it is to be able to house people in general. There's nothing more motivating than being homeless, Pinky Promise. So I want to kind of talk about that a bit, but specifically I want to get into the nuance of poverty, and then I want to go into how public transportation or the ability to transport yourself in general like what good are opportunities if you can't get there to take them, right? So in urban areas, this is usually the worst. And we're going to slowly get into like how much, I think they call it poverty dispersion, whenever you properly introduce public transit to an impoverished area and you start seeing people lift themselves up out of it and improve that area. So yeah, I have a lot of stuff to cover. I've got like 15 videos pulled up. But these people are from Austin, where I am, and they just bought the Candlewood Suites Hotel. And they didn't. Austin, the city of Austin, bought the hotel and are trying to house homeless people in it. And these lawyers and stuff went and got like business owners, and they had people who have their own concerns, of course. People who are like, this is going to ruin us, it's going to ruin the area. Like, there goes the neighborhood, essentially. Which, has its own fucking problems. So these people are unable to see the benefits that it brings for people to have things. And the woman with the seafood restaurant, she said, my restaurant is going to suffer. It's right next door. But like these people are probably going to go to her business a lot and buy her food. And you know what? They're going to just look like normal people. She's not going to be able to tell the difference. Probably.
And you can name whatever term it wants, but all we are asking is, where is the impact study? What will happen to our businesses? What will happen to all the residences that surround this place? What happens to security of our children? These are all the questions that we need answers to. And I'm just lost of words why city hasn't come across. But I really appreciate the help that we are getting, and we couldn't do this alone. So thank you very much to all of you present here. Thank you.
I want to say on behalf of William Williamson County and the 600,000+ residents that call Williamson County your home, that your county leadership and that your city leadership in Williamson County is listening. I also want to say as well, as county judge, all that we've asked for the last 2 weeks is to be invited to the table for a conversation. And in fact, I spoke with the mayor of Austin after I called him to engage in this conversation. Not one elected official other than Ms. Kelly.
What they're complaining about is they're saying that the Think of the Children line, Save Austin Now. Yeah, that's what they call their campaign. It's fucking ridiculous. So, hold on.
Has communicated with me.
So they're complaining like, oh, they didn't let us know, they didn't tell us in time, but there's no doing this. Like cities just have to do stuff. You know, there are times like, okay, so if it comes to a humanitarian effort, right? And it's not something like, say, building a park, right? Where you have to take like environmental precautions and stuff. This is a building that's already there, not being used because of COVID, and it's a business that exists for profit. When you're talking about a humanitarian aid of housing human beings, the way I see it, if you're taking a humanitarian effort, this is not a one for the all situation, or like it's not even a trolley problem, my guy. It's the fucking right thing to do. That's just it. Okay? Housing people is the right thing to do. And I can't believe I have to fucking say that. Like, people need homes. It's just stupid.
As the chief executive officer of Williamson County about this matter. Now, I want to say,
if they had warned anybody that they were going to do this, do you know how much longer it would have taken? Probably wouldn't have happened. It probably would have sat there empty post-COVID as they figured out what to do, or they would have like just kept going until COVID ended and they could make it a profitable business again for tourists who would come stay the night there and spend money at their business. It's fucking
residents of Williamson County that live in this area. I understand the fiscal impact upon your
no one
homes.
expected all the
And
extra
for those
homeless
of you
people,
that
for
own
sure.
Businesses, I understand the impact upon your businesses. But I want to be abundantly clear with this statement. The fact that homeowners are having to walk their kids to school because they feel unsafe is not right. The fact that our homeowners are having to pick up feces and urine bottles and syringes out of their streets and their neighborhoods, it is not right. And I want to say this unequivocally.
Okay, so the places that do this right, not even the right thing, it's also just easier and cheaper. Yeah. We talked a little bit about the cost of having nothing. There's a popular ideology about the cost of doing nothing, but I haven't seen anything about the cost of having nothing. Actually, I think now that I'm thinking about it, there may be one video I've seen. But it hasn't been done yet, right? They just found out that it's planning to be done, and they're getting all butthurt. And they're like, nobody told us they were going to do this. So when he's talking about, oh, you have to walk our kids to school because it's like, there's gonna be needles and piss bottles and stuff. You know who pisses in bottles? People who don't have toilets. You know who doesn't have toilets? People without homes. Because homes are where you keep toilets. These people are gonna go to work. They're not just gonna be here at the fucking hotel all day. Like, think about it like your house. If you're a non-disabled, like if you're a fucking person who works out of your house, you leave your fucking house every day. You don't just stay there and do drugs. That's the whole point. The whole point is to not sit around and do drugs. That's what you do when you cannot get a job because you don't have an address. These people are gonna go to work.
Quickly clear to the city of Austin. don't mess with Williamson County. I want you to know that Williamson County will use any and all resources to protect our citizenry. You have stepped over the line.
Fuck Williamson County.
Without coming to the table and having a conversation. I'm willing to have that conversation, but if you are not, we will take you to a conversation in the local courthouse, and you will not be pleased with the outcome. Our Senator Charles Schwetner.
Thank you, Judge. Let there be no mistake. The City of Austin's City Council and Mayor Adler have completely...
Speaking of Lieutenant Dan not hurting your kids, what percentage of homeless people are veterans? %11%. %11% of homeless people are veterans. You're gonna have a and you know what? Texas is a huge military state, dude. We got multiple Air Force and military bases here. Like, there's so many people who are like you used to trust with your life. Now you don't trust them with their own life. You used to believe that they'd save little Timmy and Jessica from the fucking terrorists, and now you don't think they can even save a few dollars to spend it responsibly. Fucking piece of shit.
failed the homeless with the policies they have enacted in Austin. The citizens of Austin have seen that, and now they want to transport their failed problems to Williamson County without the services, the support, the coordination that is necessary to benefit the homeless. This is wrong. As a senator for Williamson County, today I filed.
It's not about you. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's not about Williamson County to benefit the homeless. It's just about benefiting the homeless. Who, you know what, don't get a whole lot of benefits. And yeah, 25% of homeless people are mentally ill. 45% of, let's see, hold on. What was the thing I had pulled up here? 45% of the homeless veterans are African American or Hispanic. Yeah, so that's cool. Cool how that is. The way that is, that's cool. Whatever. Fucking A.
Filed legislation that will require notification and coordination between a county and a city when it comes to addressing the homeless population. Furthermore, I've spoken directly with leadership, including the representatives of this region, Representative Busey, the commissioners, city council people, directly, unlike the mayor of Austin, who did not engage anybody in Williamson County prior to...
Yeah, he didn't engage. He just housed people. Fuck you.
...trying to pass this and have passed it through their city council on a 10-to-1 vote. I will fully fight this with every ounce of energy I have.
I will fully fight this with every ounce of energy I have. Fuck you, man.
It's wrong for the businesses and
I want to make a law so I can say no.
It's wrong
yeah.
for the school children in the neighboring schools in this area. We need to find a better way forward to address the homeless situation in Central Texas. But what has been enacted by the city of Austin through their city council is not right.
We need to do more, but the very good plan that you actually came up with and tried to enact isn't it. All right. So I'm going to need you to like put that on the back burner. Chill out. Wait a minute. Okay. Hold on. Don't put homeless people next to this Chinese woman's business. Okay? Because she will suffer. And it will only benefit the homeless. Take that, the homeless. You deserve it. I say to the people who can't watch this because they don't have fucking internet because they can't afford it. Take that, the homeless.
Thank you.
So I think we have time for just a couple of questions from reporters. Yes, sir.
Val, you mentioned the concern about people having to walk their kids to school in the syringes and feces and urine. This hotel was purchased, a week and change ago.
Right.
So that's here already. There's no one in that hotel of the homeless population that the city of Austin has put in there. So that problem is already here. I'm interested in why that would be part of the criticism against the city council.
Well, so we can take a walkabout here in 15 minutes if you would like to walk about just a quarter of a mile down the road, and I can show you some of the locations and some of the neighborhoods and the neighbors that have great concerns with what's going on. It's already here, and it's going to continue to grow if the city places this facility here. Listen, let me be abundantly clear. There are a great group of individuals that are compassionate, that are standing up here. But all that we're simply saying is we should have been invited to the conversation in the beginning instead of a mandate or an edict or a direct from on high that we had.
Let me be perfectly clear. These people will not have homes, and the amount of homeless people will only continue to increase. We have to do something. Not just wait.
To do this. We should have had a conversation, and no one afforded us that opportunity. Next question.
We didn't get the opportunity to consider how bad it would be to have homeless people here. Because we knew you would just say this. Here, you have your opportunity. You voiced your concerns. City already bought the hotel, man. You're fucked. If you think you're fucked, you really are fucked. But I don't think you're fucked.
Well, first of all, you need to coordinate between various local governments. That'd be a great way forward, don't you think? The city of Austin has utterly failed to do that. They didn't even notify not just the commissioners, but the state representatives, of which Representative Busey is actually, he's a colleague of mine, but he's on the Democrat. No communication at all. Utter failure on their part. And that's just wrong. You have to have the serves as a physician and as a legislator and as someone that has worked on the homeless issue, worked on health issues. You absolutely need the services, mental health services, physical health services, food and nutrition services. And without any notification, you just decide, hey, we've failed so badly in Austin, we're just going to buy a hotel in Williamson County and transport the problem up there. That's not leadership. That's a failure of leadership.
Good. All right, one last question, then we're going to step back.
What exactly can the Attorney General's office, and maybe this is partly a question for Mr. Rice, but what exactly can the Attorney General's office do in this instance, and what legal avenues, as you mentioned, are you targeting or looking at that would not allow the city of Austin to take an action like this within city limits?
Attorney General Paxton has devoted the resources, the attorneys, the time, the bandwidth within our office to explore all options. It's often said, where there's smoke, there's fire. And as I said during my remarks, this whole business stinks. And so we're going to dig around and see where the rot is. If there's something there, Attorney General Paxton, as he always does, will work with Senator Schwardner and the county to take decisive legal action.
Yeah, they didn't just decide.
Other reporters.
Hold on just a second. Thank you very much. So I just want to close with this thought on behalf of...
And this is obviously separate from the protest that I was talking about as well.
Senator and myself.
Which was like a week and a half ago?
Myself and Councilwoman Ms. Kelly and Commissioner Long, we want to say to the residents that live in this area, we've got your back. And we want to say to the small business owners, just like this facility that have struggled to make ends meet, Williamson County has your back. And you need to know that your Texas Senator has your back, that the Attorney General has your back, and that there are good people that are standing with you and standing for you. And we have only begun to stand in this fight. Thank you. Thank you guys very much. Have a great day.
All right. So now we're going to watch a video called by Huge Patriot. And this video is called Austin Adds to Homeless Hotel Empire. I don't know what the fuck that means. I wasn't aware of any other homeless hotels. Yeah, a mob of these homeless people broke her arm. She has to walk her kids to school because it's so dangerous and scary. Yeah. Probably doesn't even live in that fucking area. She can afford to live somewhere better than that. She's in the government. She's got money.
Today, February 4th, 2021, Austin City Council voted to purchase a homeless hotel in an extremely nice neighborhood.
They purchased a hotel.
District 6.
They purchased a homeless hotel. Like, bro, it's just a fucking hotel, all right? They purchased it for the homeless. I mean, like, I know what you're saying, but you're still stupid.
The only person that voted against it was Mackenzie Kelly. And it makes no sense to have a homeless hotel in this neighborhood. As you see, it's...
Bro, your drone footage sucks. I don't even own a drone, but I know I could take better drone footage.
Primarily a residential neighborhood with an office building in the area, a McDonald's, an Exxon, a restaurant, and other nice hotels around the area. But now this area will be turned into a homeless hotel area. And as you can see, somehow they already knew that this was going to be approved because the police car was already set up before the vote even took place.
The police car was set up?
So somebody already knew that this thing was going to pass through. Some fencing is already up. It's only a matter of time before the black tarp goes up with 3 police cars.
Yeah, that's not even a fancy hotel.
From a recent FOIA request, I found out, based on the FOIA request, that the city is spending $25,000 every 2 weeks on these police at the homeless hotel because their overtime rates. And this isn't me guessing. This is them putting it in an Excel file.
It's probably because cops work too many different positions. And they cost a fucking fortune despite their lack of training.
So if it's incorrect, then they need to fix that and they need to double check what they send me. But each one of these hotels is going to be running $25,000 of police every 2 weeks. And what they don't tell people too is that these homeless hotels aren't to house unhoused people as well. They double them up as homeless hotels and COVID quarantine centers. And the reason they do this is because they want federal emergency funding. So
what? Yeah, the police budget covers it. And spades. That's cop money. That's like the way too much cop money that caused people to get shot at the protests because they have like this bloated sense of power due to all the fucking money and power they have. They can just push people around. Like, yeah, like the money comes from somewhere. They're not like, oh, the government will give us money if we house the homeless. And even if they did, like, go off. Okay, you're housing people and the government's going to pay you to do it. Continue. Do a good job. That's it. That's probably not even the case.
It's no surprise that this thing passed the way it did. There's something more going on here. It's probably voting, but there's also probably federal initiatives that go into this.
There's something more going on here. It's probably voting. Voting is the whole thing that happens. It's a government. Yes, there's probably corruption, but not in the way you think. Not when it comes to housing homeless people. They were just doing the right thing. and surprising people in the local area was also doing the right thing.
This to introduce homelessness into suburban neighborhoods. And everybody wants to talk about we need more housing for unhoused, but all these people are extremely low information because they don't understand how many homeless hotels the city currently has and how many of them are unoccupied.
Okay, tell me.
There's one, the Crown Plaza, that the city, I don't believe, even occupies anymore because they didn't use it. They're doing this strategically, and they're partnering with hotels, and we don't know the connection there or why they select these hotels, but someone's giving them instructions behind the scenes.
What the fuck are you talking about?
But as you can see in this video,
their hotel conspiracy homeless empire. What if they just need to buy enough hotels to do it all at once? What if it's really expensive to like hire and then rehire and then hire again the same fucking contractors to do the job? Because the government likes to use as few contractors to do as many jobs as possible. That's called efficiency, you fucking ding-dong. Oh my god.
This hotel is in an extremely nice area. There's no homeless people in this area, or very limited homeless people, but the city wants one of these, or they want multiple of them in every district. I guess they want to move the homeless camping issue into everywhere.
Literally no. What? They're gonna move like the camping issue in by housing people? Okay. I mean, really, can't you just take this as an excuse to fucking colonize further, push further into the wilderness between like Austin and like the Dallas-Fort Worth area? Just be like, oh no, we're housing people. We better move out and head up north so that we can tear down trees there and build bigger houses. What if we tried living in apartments? No, I don't want to be close to you, guy. Fucking dildos.
The city makes it seem like all these people are just down on their luck. But most homeless people are still camping, even though there's thousands of hotel rooms available to them. And that's because they don't want to be subject to random city rules. Like you can't go out past a certain time. You can't do drugs in there. You can't bring guests. So a lot of them don't want the restrictions. The city's just buying these hotels.
Yeah, bro, because it's not actually a fucking hotel. It's like a rehab with less rules. Think about it that way, dude. Like, and then think about how fucked up it is that you need a rehab for being homeless. Like people who like live in apartments already get like helpful budgeting tips from your office to help you pay your bills, because if you don't, you're gonna be homeless
for random reasons and using homeless as a cover story. But I would ask everybody to keep requesting information through Freedom of Information requests so that we can keep the city honest. They have no idea what's going on at these hotels. They don't have an idea of occupancy, and they don't have an idea of how much budget they're using. In this city, we're spending more than $100,000 per homeless person per year, and the city's not even keeping track of that because the only person that's keeping an eye on.
Bro, they're just not sharing all their documents with you because you don't work for the city and you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're not an investigator. You're a guy with a drone.
The budget is Spencer Cronk, and everybody else just tries to throw Spencer Cronk under the bus, and they're not keeping track of the dollars. We should not be spending $100,000 per homeless person per year. And if we are, why don't we just give them that money? It doesn't make sense what they're doing here. So again, City of Austin is building a homeless hotel empire for who knows what reason. And you can tell which hotels are about to be bought. There's a lot of La Quintas.
Why do they need an empire of homeless hotels, my guy? What's the purpose of that?
And roadway inns along I-35 that are just prime real estate for the city because they're just large empty hotels, and it's a matter of time before they buy them.
Yeah,
so
they're empty hotels. Bruh, you've got 3 hotels next to each other in a residential. Actually, you know what? That's a good point. Hold on. 1, 2, 3 hotels in what's pretty much a residential area. Oh, wow. Look at all of this. Nothing. There's a whole lot of just people's houses out there and nothing. Ah, shucks. Look at how much shit there isn't. These hotels... Look, there's another hotel. Eat a dick, bro. There's another hotel. Yeah, they're empty hotels. Because there's 6 or 7 of them, and there's probably 13 hotels within a mile of this area. Bro, you live here. Do you fucking know how many hotels Austin has? There's much better places for them to be as well. And the people who need those hotels to get out to these areas, probably people who work in these buildings here that are traveling there to have meetings with the executives of whatever these fucking businesses are, they can probably drive a little bit. I don't think they need to be able to drive across the street for a meeting. You know, like you can do it. Okay? I believe in you. You got this, baby, all right? Like
The city makes it seem like all these people are just down on their luck. But most homeless people are still camping, even though there's thousands of hotel rooms available to them. And that's because they don't want to be subject to random city rules. Like you can't go out past a certain time. You can't. I would ask everybody to keep requesting information through Freedom of Information requests so that we can keep the city honest. They have no idea what's going on at these hotels. They don't have an idea of occupancy, and they don't have an idea of how much budget they're using. In this city, we're spending more than $100,000 per homeless person per year, and the city's not even keeping track of that because the only person that's keeping an eye on the budget is Spencer Cronk, and everybody else just tries to throw Spencer Cronk under the bus, and they're not keeping track of the dollars. We should not be spending $100,000 per homeless person per year, and if we are, why don't we just give them that money? It doesn't make sense what they're doing here. So again, City of Austin is building a homeless hotel empire for who knows what reason. And you can tell which hotels are about to be bought. There's a lot of La Quintas and Roadway Inns along.
I love people who don't edit out the big old breath they take when they're doing a video. Fuck you.
35.
Gross.
Prime real estate for the city because they're just large empty hotels. And you know, it's a matter of time before they buy them. So people think this is going to stop. They're wrong. The city has got to...
It's just a matter of time before they buy up all the hotels. I'm telling you, man, they're going to buy up all the hotels. They're going to
a mandate from the Democratic Party and the federal government to buy these hotels up. And for now, they guise them as homeless hotels and COVID-19 quarantine facilities. But who knows what else they have planned with these things.
Who knows? Who knows what else they have planned? They're either going to house homeless people or they're going to be hotels. Those are the things they are going to do. So this LARPers conspiracy theory is that Austin is making people homeless so that they can buy hotels and house them. I don't get it. Yeah, he's like, there's something going on here. They're building an empire of hotels, don't you know? And it's like, and then he's like, people don't want to be subject to rules. And it's like, okay, but you don't want the homeless people who won't follow the rules. So like they only let in the people who follow the rules, and that's why they can be in these areas. Like they're fully aware that they're surrounded by privileged dickheads and they're prepared to operate around it. But like, I don't know if the thing he's saying about them being empty is even true, because clearly there was a bunch of cars pulled up to them, like people were in there doing things. So like, I don't know what that was about, but yeah, halfway house or shelter. Yeah, they have strict rules. And of course they have strict rules. Like, a hotel doesn't say like, please come here and do drugs. There's just an explicit understanding with most people that they're probably going to go to a hotel and do drugs. But the thing is, they're not separating the fact that this building used to be a hotel from the fact that these people are trying to change their lives. And the only people allowed to be there are the ones that are actively trying to change their lives. It's a common understanding, if you try to help people, that you should be able to identify when a person doesn't actually want to receive that help, and then you should stop trying to give it, because at that point you're just hurting yourself and not helping them. So this is really just not the hill to die on. Like, oh, they're definitely getting up to something over there, housing the homeless.
Protesters speaking out days before Austin City Council will vote on the purchase of Candlewood Suites, a second hotel for the homeless.
A second hotel. So this guy is like, they're building a homeless hotel empire. It's the second one. Do you know what 2 is? 2 is barely it's not even a pattern. Like, two is not enough, frankly, for what they're trying to accomplish here. It's just the beginning of the work, really. And the fact that this guy's like, oh, they're up to some kind of conspiracy and they're buying these homeless hotels so that they can like perform some kind of conspiracy is bonkers, when it's the second hotel that they bought to house people. Fox.
Number 2, if all of our businesses are going to lose revenue, just if it's losing, is city taking responsibility that they will bridge the gap with the loss of revenue? What about the reputation in the area? I want to ask each one of you, how do you think homeless housing is an ideal location? And that's what.
So you see how her shirt says Hampton Inn or Hampton Suites? Guys, you're literally shilling. You're shilling. She represents a corporation. She's like, all of our businesses are gonna suffer. Your business isn't gonna suffer. You run a worldwide hotel chain. Are you a franchisee? If you are, I'm sorry? Sell your hotel to the city of Austin. House homeless people. Fuck yourself.
You're asking. There's nothing against. And what study have you done? To my knowledge, San Francisco did the same thing last couple of years. And they came out and said they completely failed. Homeless housing does not work in hotels. They need more care. They need more social services. They need help. Which one of us is certified to give that kind of help? I run a business. I'm not apt to give social services. Frida owns a restaurant. She's not apt to give those services. The residents around are not apt, capable of giving those services. So how are we helping? Whom are we helping? I want to know. And that city needs to come out and lead. Confusion, yes. So yesterday's newspaper, I don't have it in my hand, but I'll be happy to share.
It looks like on November of 2nd, those homeless people in San Francisco are being moved out.
Receive 3 free gifts with select mattress purchases
Fuck
during May.
you.
Visit us at sleepworld.com.
Mancini Sleep
Thank you.
World,
The
or
city of
else.
San Francisco will reportedly begin moving more than 500 homeless people out of hotels today. So, of course, the question is, where are they going to go? Well,
Yeah.
According to the Chronicle, there's still no clear plan on where they're going to live. The report says several hotels are closing by the end of the year, so the city will need to gradually move people out.
No, your city needs to buy them, San Francisco. You should. Ah! She was complaining about homeless hotels, and they were literally just for shelter in place. That's how long we've been going at this pandemic shit now. Stuff that happened that started like in the last year is long enough ago that people can just twist it into like, oh, they tried to do homeless hotels and it didn't work. It doesn't seem like those were permanent.
Case managers will work with people who live in 7 different hotels to figure out their options. Right now, there are more than 8,000 homeless people living in the city, including about 2,400 living in hotels.
Marvel Studios' first series has a
Some have waited for years. Okay, so they were permanent situations. But what didn't work about them? Seems like they're working fine. It's just the problem is they don't make enough money to stay open. I'm going to need to do more research on that one. Got a lot of stuff to get through.
Yesterday, some newspaper took a picture of Hampton Inn and said this hotel is proposed for homeless housing. Is that really what is the city's plan for our businesses? We've been here for long enough. We are opening another hotel next month. What is the city's plan to protect our employees, our guests, our residents? What safety and security? Just housing one cost is not the solution. We need to know more. At any point, did the city come to Lawler? No, we were not. In fact, the way city did it is randomly. We picked it up on January 25th, Austin Statesman's newspaper. Thanks for that, because we found out that day that they were even voting on Wednesday. That was the very first time that we heard. Actually, Williamson County does not know either about this. We reached out to Williamson County how they were about this, and they did not have any clue about this. They found out on Tuesday, and this is from Commissioner Cynthia Long. She came out and told me she had no clue either about this. So county does not know, community does not know, businesses don't know. So who really knows? Just Mayor Adler and the council members, and to my knowledge, Mackenzie Kelly.
You know, it's mind-blowing to me, like, that's just showbiz, baby. It's mind-blowing to me to, like, the amount of situations that we just ignore where people are not asked their permission and then trampled all over. Like, but now that something's actually positive is being done, like, not just, you know, creating oil jobs by building a pipeline through indigenous land or something, but, like, actually doing something good. And then they send this lady with, like, kind of one of the meanest faces she got a really mean face. Like, it seems like she's fighting to get her words out. I don't know. Like, it could just because I think every one of her words is absolute dog shit. But it seems like, you know, she knows she's garbage. We're opening another hotel next month. And what are we going to do without the revenue from this one? If you're going to be housing the homeless, how dare you?
We also didn't have a fair idea about this.
You know, being in the hotel industry, knowing how hotels work, how will a hotel house homeless people, and how will that, you know, function? How would that look like?
Yeah, I want to ask each one of you.
Yeah, they're punching down and blaming city issues on the homeless. Exactly.
There are a lot of other options. So are you going to feel safe? Are you going to walk to Frida's? You know, are you going to feel safe parking your car there where there's always a chance of, and I'm not criminalizing homeless people, please.
Yes. Yes, you are, though. You, like, literally actually are. You're saying, like, oh, are you going to be safe? I don't want to criminalize anyone, but you won't be safe. Fuck you. I don't want to criminalize anyone. I'm just a corporate shill, and I literally have to. So please forgive me. I'm actually a good person. This is just my job. I just happen to be really good at deceiving people. So if you could please just bear with me, accept my lies, and just swallow the fact that this is really good for the business, really good for the city to house the homeless. Okay, not this way. All right, we need to find another way. How dare we? How, like, gosh forbid we use existing infrastructure instead of creating new infrastructure so that we can actually maintain it instead of making more shit to fail. God forbid, like that something smart happens. It has to be fucking stupid. It has to be about the businesses, the revenue they lose. And of course, Fox 7 picks a fucking corporate representative. All these people are local business owners, like, behind her. But she represents a chain. Why is someone who represents a chain representing a local business? And no one thinks that's suspicious. You know, there's the same people who are like, oh, something's going on with this fishy homeless hotel buying situation. And they don't think it's fishy that their small business asses are being represented by this corporate person with a Hampton Suites fucking emblem on her chest, saying, "Oh, we were gonna open a hotel next month, and shucks, what are we gonna do without the money from this one?" For the community, we want to do what is best for the. Just run this make this hotel make more money then. Open a hotel else, like, isn't it the other hotel gonna be somewhere else? Can't Hampton just use the money from elsewhere? Can't Hampton just sell it to the city? Take an L? Like, how bad does this little area need hotels? And how badly do they need to not have homeless people? Which, by the way, aren't homeless if they have somewhere to live. Community, what we are asking, but they do have issues. And we are not capable to help and handle those situations is what our message is. We are not criminalizing people. We are not dehumanizing anybody. Everybody has unfortunately been dealt with the cards, and we want to help the society as good citizens. But hurting one section does not. Oh, you've been dealt your cards, my guy. Maybe just don't be a mid-tier. Yeah, don't be garbage, Hampton, and you'll have plenty of the money to not worry about how one of your fucking branch locations does. Not mean to hurt the others who pay the taxes, who are law-abiding citizens. That's no good to anybody. So our message is very clear. To help few, don't hurt many. We believe in the system. We believe in democracy. We believe in our voices. So please, help us. Okay, so let's talk about these signs. Homeless housing versus safe schools. People being taken off the streets aren't going to threaten your schools. They're going to go to work. No homeless housing in neighborhoods. And Kitchens 2019. You're quoting someone who just believes the same thing you believe? And some hashtags. Say no to Candlewood, hashtag real solutions. This is how hashtags work. You put them at the beginning and the end. Homeless need transportation access, health service access, community, not hotel. No, actually, I think they could probably use all of these things. Yeah, all of those things sound good. Because every time you give homeless people an opportunity, it multiplies into something that makes them less of a fucking problem for you. No study, no communication, no strategy, no Candlewood. Yay! Yay! Candlewood Suites!
Council will vote whether to move forward with the purchase of Candlewood Suites, a second hotel to house the homeless, this one near Lakeline Mall. However, there is outcry from the community around the hotel.
This morning we have people who live in the neighborhood who are upset.
Yeah, they don't want communication or strategy. Cool pants. I hate you, but cool pants.
Misinformation and not a lot of information coming from the city on what the plans are to be used for this hotel. So there's a difference between a homeless shelter and permanent supportive housing. This hotel in particular, to my knowledge, will be used for permanent supportive housing for individuals experiencing homelessness that are disabled. And in that regard, there will be controlled access to the hotel. There will be a front desk operator, security, and fencing along the property.
Will it be safe? They're disabled. They're fucking disabled. They're disabled and homeless. Are you gonna be safe? Will you be would you be safe from the defenseless, homeless, disabled people? Yeah, you're gonna be fucking safe. Shut the fuck up.
I think that there's a lot of discussion surrounding that, but we also need to consider the safety of the people who will live in the hotel as well. So all around, the sheltered and
Yes, consider the safety of the people who live in the fucking hotel as well.
unsheltered need to be safe, and that's something that I'll work with.
Oh
the
no,
city
not
to
the
ensure.
disabled. Oh, not the disabled. There's such a clear and present danger to the able-bodied and wealthy.
So I had stated at the last city council meeting that we will have a town hall about the subject. Our first town hall is scheduled for Wednesday at 6:30. That's just before the council meeting. However, we will have stakeholders from the city, including our homeless strategy officer, who will be there to explain what the plan is. And I encourage the community to also attend.
What are you hearing as their biggest concern, and kind of how are you addressing
These people are so goddamn close together.
It's not knowing what the city's plans were, and as a new city council member, it's my duty to find out what that plan is and convey it to the community. People who are upset about it or not upset. Everybody deserves the right to transparency in government, and this is how it starts.
What are your obviously you're new to the council.
But I don't see any noses. Oh, I spoke too soon. Oh wait, no, she's taking a drink. Okay, so she's socially distanced. She's just taking a drink. I don't see any noses. Okay, so they don't like homeless people, but they don't like COVID either. That's good. That's good. However, if they really didn't like COVID, they would give homeless people a place to be safe and quarantined. Oh, and also live. A place to live. Crazy. It's praxish.
So that's a really loaded question. There are a lot of different things that we can do. I'm not sure if you know about our HEAL initiative that we propose. There are different strategies we can take to help end homelessness. This is just one piece of the puzzle here for just cities.
Oh god, there's more people. God, they're getting closer together.
How will the purchase of more hotels, if they are purchased throughout the city,
What I'd like to do is champion this if it does.
I can't fucking hear anything.
Business.
Guests coming already told me they're not coming because the homeless they're scared because I have a lot of older guests coming to my restaurant.
Candlewood Suites currently shares a parking lot
And the olds are definitely scared of the disableds and the homelesses.
with another hotel. Hampton Inn Suites can't even imagine what this will do for their business.
If all of our businesses are going to lose revenue, just if it's losing, is
Yeah, she doesn't have any suggestions to an alternative
the
location.
city taking responsibility that they will bridge the gap with the loss of revenue?
Residents in a nearby neighborhood
It's like, why can't they consult us? Why can't they find another way? Huh? Why can't they do it? Where should they? I don't know. Anywhere else.
But want to know why Austin City Council chose this hotel. They say housing the homeless in this hotel is unsafe for the community.
There are houses all around here, and people love to walk their dogs, ride bikes with their children, and they're not going to be able to do that.
Okay, well, here's the thing though. Imagine, okay, so I am being housed in a hotel, okay? I am so lucky and thankful that I can get off the streets and live in a hotel. I'm going to walk over a couple blocks, Cindy, and I'm going to fucking rob from you, and I'm going to take your dog, okay? I'm going to take your fucking stupid little fuzzy furry dog, and then I'm going to go back to my hotel, and I'm going to get away with it. With your dog. Or any of your possessions. Yeah. No, but here's the thing. I am going to do it. And then you know what's not going to happen? Someone's definitely not going to come to the hotel with a fucking police officer who would be like, oh, someone who doesn't live around here came and robbed me. Get the first place that, trust me, the police are going to go there a lot based on just profiling. People be like, I saw someone who I thought might have been homeless nearby doing something that could potentially be illegal, or that I think might be illegal because it harms my white sensibilities, and they're gonna show up to the homeless hotel, and it's probably rarely gonna be that someone there broke the law. Because tell me, if your own housing wasn't under your own control, would you be going out and fucking breaking laws and then heading on home back there? You know, like, I'm fine. You know, where they have like rules that are apparently so strict that they don't want to live there, according to the guy who made this video. No, come on.
Safely.
Think about this shit. Think about it for 2 fucking seconds.
Austin City Council member admits the city hasn't been transparent about this purchase.
This hotel in particular, to my knowledge, will be used for permanent supportive housing for individuals experiencing homelessness that are disabled. And in that regard, there will be controlled access to the hotel. There will be a front desk operator, security, and fencing along the property.
Kelly says there will be a town hall.
Wait, so this guy showed us the video of him recording the group around this woman, and then he was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play all the footage I just did again, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to play the news's footage, which actually doesn't capture all the wind blowing around. And I'm just going to play it again. I'm just going to play it again.
All on Wednesday at 6:30 p.m.
People on the right don't make good videos, dude. They don't make good. Their content is not good. And I mean, their praxis is bad, right? So maybe if you believe in the praxis, you're okay with it. But the content is not good. I think most people agree.
To discuss the purchase
the
of
right
the
can't
hotel.
art. Oh, here they are at Frida's Seafood and Steak. Place is gonna do great after all the people who can afford to eat out again start going there, and yeah, you know what? You're probably gonna have people who like go there, and you know, after finally getting off the street, they got some money in their pocket, they can afford to eat something while they save up for a place of their own to live, and then after they get their own place to live, they're gonna go back there and they're gonna keep eating there because they're gonna be like, this is the place that was here whenever I was homeless, and they're gonna have no idea that woman did everything in her power to keep those motherfuckers from having the opportunities that they do, and they're never gonna know, and she's probably never gonna hold herself accountable for that. She's just gonna be like, oh yes, we're good friends. I'm so happy that you're having a good life. Good job. In the back of her mind, she's gonna be like, I tried to keep this from you. I'm shit. We'll see how it turns out. So they're bitching about their taxes when the city of Austin just bought 2 hotels with like previous cop money after the BLM protests did not make cops look so good. Did they say no trans person? Are they transphobes too? Huh. Oh, transparency. And just to be clear again, this is a Candlewood Suites representative shouting into this bullhorn. Someone who represents a chain. She's only doing this because it's a break from her boring ass regular job. They're like, do you want us to pay you extra money and then you can just go out and like rile up Americans into like not wanting homeless people to live there? And she's like, how much more money? Please, I'm so poor. I work for a normal human person amount of money, and I will take anything extra I can get. I will shill for you for anything. I don't care. And they're like, all right, that's a little too that's a little too enthusiastic. Please calm down. But yeah, you just need to head right over across the street to Candlewood and protest the homeless hotel over there. And she said, okay. She agreed. And I don't know if she's just a franchise owner. I don't know if a franchise owner would show up in the collared shirt. I think it's more than a little bit ironic that she showed up in a company shirt with her uniform on to come out and try and represent all these small business owners who were all dressed normally, just like a business owner does. You know, and she's here in her corporate uniform, representing the masses. That works. Franchise lies.
Has been no communication with the city or anyone, saying that this hotel is going to become a shelter for those experiencing homelessness. Now they say it's going to cause problems for those here in the community. Outside the Candlewood Suites on Sunday.
Is she heading to like a middle school dance? She looks like a goth teenager. I mean, she looks good, sure, but like she definitely doesn't look like an adult. I don't know what it is. But maybe it's cuz the sign looks so much bigger than her. Do you think it's glossy lips? It could be that. Something very diminutive about her. But like yeah, it's the staging. Yeah, it makes her look very small cuz yeah, she's directly in the middle of the scene. She's by this sign that's way taller than her. She's wearing a short skirt with like this shirt. This shirt is fine.
Here in the community. Outside the Candlewood Suites on Sunday.
Look at her hair, man. She's been working all day on this shit, dude. She's been here for hours. Riling up idiots.
Voicing their displeasure with the hotel being bought to house the homeless.
There are hotels all over Austin that would be perfect, and they'll cost a fraction of what this one will. And you can put the homeless there, and they're not going to bother.
Why can't you put them somewhere shittier?
Some residents
you should be putting. Why can't you just go put the homeless in the shittiest place possible? Find a few walls and a roof and put them under and between them. Why can't you just do that? Why can't you spend the absolute minimum that it takes to get these people into homes? Why do you have to spend like a frankly tiny amount of money on a hotel that nobody likes, that maybe it's not such a bad idea. Huh.
She's not against finding shelters and resources for those who find themselves in a tough time.
We don't deal with the root issues for these people and come alongside them and help them. There won't be a solution.
But says the Candlewood Suites is not the first step in helping.
This is not the right place. But there's got to be a right place, but this is not it. This is not safe for our community.
Where is Safety was one of the main concerns for many who came out on Sunday.
So what ultimately would happen if you place a bunch of people here and there's no leadership, there's no assistance programs to help them, what ultimately will happen is this will become a drug.
Blonde white woman in puffy jacket says, it's not the right place. Okay, it's not the right place, but there's some places the right place, but this isn't it. Like, I was joking earlier, and I was like, oh yeah, you need to go somewhere, but not like, but no, they don't. They are saying it. They're actually saying, I don't know where you should put them, but this isn't it. Schrodinger's right place. Yeah, it's very much like the.
Infested
like Hitler's
building
right place,
with
similar.
Prostitution.
But you're going to be walking right by our neighborhood where they
Yeah,
drop
they're
the
like, there's some kind of solution. I mean, this is one of the solutions, but I think we're getting closer to the last solution, or I don't know. There's got to be a better word for it. I don't know what the word is, but there's a better word.
kids up for school. They pick the kids up in the morning for school.
Yeah.
What if there's a pedophile in this group?
What if there's a pedophile in this
That's not a
group?
good
Shut the
formula.
fuck up,
City
man.
Council District 6 Representative Mackenzie Kelly says there are a lot of misconceptions about the hotel. She says it will be classified as permanent supportive housing for those who are homeless and disabled, not as a homeless shelter.
There will
They're
be controlled
disabled, yo.
access to the hotel. There will be a front desk operator, security,
She's had to say the same shit so many times.
and fencing along the property.
Saying safety is
Fencing.
always
Bro, they're fenced. They're fenced. These are people who are willingly fencing themselves in. Are you kidding me? Eagerly waiting on lists to be fenced in. Fuck yourself.
a priority.
So all around, the sheltered and unsheltered need to be safe, and that's something that I'll work with the city to ensure.
However, for those living and working nearby, they say the benefits don't outweigh the risk.
So our message is very clear. To help few, don't hurt many.
Since Friday, there has been a petition.
To help few, don't hurt many. How many does she think are being hurt? Okay, let's do quick cleanse, play some marbles. It's exciting. Go summon up the dead ones. Go summon up the dead ones. This will only take a second.
Market Square Circle.
Alright, so let's see. Which one should we do? Grand Prix? What map do you want to do? Hit exclamation point vote to vote for a map? You pick the number. So say you want to do vote 20. You can do that. Pick a track, pick a track. You know what? We're gonna do the House of Pain. It took too long to vote. Viewer or simulated race? Yep. Boop. Type exclamation mark. Whoa. That's not what I wanted. See how this shit works. Viewer. House of Pain. Alright, so you do exclamation mark play to play. Fatal error, fuck you. Garbage. Do a quick cleanse. The game will work. Shit. Take me back to the House of Pain. Viewer. Race. Seriously? That's so weird. Alright, whatever. Let's talk about why American public transit is so bad.
This is a map of Chicago's train system. If you look at its design, it's not hard to figure out what it was built to do. All its different lines intersect here in Chicago's downtown, and then fan outward. This is a system that's really good at moving people between the suburbs or the outer rings of the city and downtown. But that's not really useful to my friend Nina.
I am a Chicago resident and I live in Avondale. I drive to work every day. I drive 25 minutes to Elmwood Park, which is a suburb right on the border of the city.
Nina actually lives right by a bus stop and a train stop. But if she commuted that way,
I could take the bus down Addison, but the bus route stops at the border of the city. So it would be a pretty long walk, like 45-minute walk maybe. Or maybe I could take the train down to the loop, and then I would have to get on the Metro, which is the train that goes to the suburb.
Nina said she would commute on public transit if it made sense. But for her, it doesn't. Transit systems across the U.S. were built to serve a very specific type of commute, from outside the center of the city to inside it. But studies show that today, the most common American commute is actually from suburb to suburb, routes that public transit in the U.S. usually doesn't serve. It's one reason that the overwhelming majority of Americans get to work by driving alone, and there are a few reasons that isn't ideal. First, it means the overwhelming majority of Americans are also required to own a car in order to work, and that's expensive, the second biggest household expense for Americans. And all that driving also means that transportation is the single biggest way Americans emit greenhouse gases. And because most Americans don't rely on public transit, making it better is rarely a top political priority. which makes things even harder for the people who do rely on neglected transit systems. So what would it take to shrink this part of the chart to get more Americans to use public transit? What would that look like? And who has the power to make that happen? This is Cincinnati in 1955. It's what a lot of American cities used to look like. There were some highways, but most of the city was on a grid, which made it easy to get around either on foot or on public transit, like streetcars. But around the same time, a huge government infrastructure project changed the U.S. dramatically. New interstate highways were built from coast to coast, many of them running right through the downtowns of many cities. Today, Cincinnati looks like this. Instead of a grid, there's a tangle of highways. It makes some neighborhoods almost impossible to get to on foot. And if you don't drive, it's hard to get around the city at all. The same thing happened in countless other cities too, like Detroit and Kansas City. And as cities expanded outward along those highways, one kind of American neighborhood flourished. Entirely residential, filled with single-family homes. And because they were spread out instead of dense, they also changed how Americans got around. Living there required you to travel a lot farther for just about anything. By 2020, a study found that the average workday distance traveled for Americans was 7 miles.
Now, if you're a driver, that doesn't sound long at all. In fact, in your head, you might be thinking that only takes 10 minutes.
Adi Tomer co-authored that study.
It's a biking distance that is both strenuous and potentially unsafe. And for pedestrians, it's a nearly impossible distance to traverse in any kind of reasonable time. By seeing these kind of travel distances, we understand the consequences of what we've built. Automobile-oriented neighborhoods.
A later approach to neighborhood planning has created places that look more like this. Neighborhoods designed to put you closer to what you need, that center around a transit hub with buildings that contain not just housing, but office space and businesses too. This is called transit-oriented development. And the people who live in these places are less likely than the national average to drive, and more likely to walk, bike, or take transit. But developing new neighborhoods like this is an extremely long-term project.
If we're going to address these issues, we have to accept the world that we live in now and make transit work in that world rather than dream of a new world.
Jonathan English is an urban planner in Toronto, and he thinks getting more Americans to use public transit doesn't have to be so hard. In a research project, Jonathan created these maps of American cities and drew lines on them wherever there was a reliable public transit route, which he defined as this.
A bus that comes every 30 minutes till midnight, 7 days a week.
Spooky
the
noise.
absolute bare minimum of a transit route that you can count on.
These were the results in Denver, Portland, Charlotte, and Washington, D.C. You can see a familiar design in them, service-oriented around a downtown, but that doesn't really connect neighborhood to neighborhood. And this was the result in Toronto.
When you go to a Toronto suburb, it's not very unfamiliar to any American. You see houses with big driveways, two-car garages, winding suburban streets. The difference is that the bus goes past those single-family homes every 5 minutes, and it runs 24 hours a day.
Yes.
And that difference
you can
changes
actually
everything.
walk out of your house and take a bus in Canada, in big cities in Canada, like especially Toronto. From the suburb, you can take a bus.
Even car owners in Toronto ride the
Walk
bus.
a couple blocks.
And Jonathan says the lesson for American cities is obvious.
That shows that it is possible that if we invest in basic operations and improving basic local service, that...
And if people don't like bus routes going through suburban areas and they feel like they have to move, oh, you just made housing cheaper in areas with public transit. Holy shit, that's like 2 birds.
The riders will come. Something that we can do in a matter of weeks.
In other words,
That's 2 birds with one disturbing metaphor.
it's mostly a matter of whether we choose to fund that. This chart shows how public transit gets funded in the US, mostly by local and state governments and by the fares people pay to ride, which makes state and local elections super important for public transit. Right now, the federal government contributes the smallest part, and even that part is limited in what it can pay for. Very little federal transit funding helps pay for day-to-day operations, even though that's often where transit systems need the most help. Instead, most federal money gets directed to what are called capital investments, flashy new physical infrastructure projects that often get a lot of media attention.
So you end up with a $1 billion rapid transit project or light rail or bus rapid transit project where the vehicles don't actually run all that frequently.
Joe Biden's campaign has a proposal to invest in public transportation, and the Trump administration has shown interest in increasing infrastructure spending. But where all that money goes is really decided by Congress. And debate over that often splits along partisan lines, with Democrats who often represent more urban districts in favor of more transit funding, and Republicans in favor of more funding for highways and roads.
My Democrat colleagues want to put the big cities first and ignore our rural communities.
In July 2020, the Democratic-controlled House of Representatives passed a $1.5 trillion infrastructure bill that reallocated funds from roads to trains and transit.
The first 21st century transportation bill.
But to take effect, it would also have to pass the Senate, which is currently controlled by Republicans, whose leader, Mitch McConnell, called the bill nonsense, absurd, and pure fantasy.
If the Democrats do in fact take back the Senate and hold on to the House, irrespective of what happens with the presidency, we can actually expect to see significantly more interest in investment in public transportation. And interestingly, a different approach to that investment, where it may not just be
I'd
more
invest in
capital
public
projects,
transportation,
but different kinds of investment.
and then I'd use it. And I'd be like, man, every day I ride around and I save money, I'd be like, man, I also profit from this. Oh boy.
I still really value
And look at all these people who can afford to get around now. Shucks, I did a good thing.
on a train line, and like
With
I've
my-
never
and I
lived
make
anywhere
money.
that wasn't like a 15-minute walk from the train, because I think
You
that's
can do good things and make money. Like, it doesn't just have to be a money sink, you know?
so much a part of my experience as a Chicago resident, being able to access it if I need it, but it's pretty poorly designed.
Most Americans live in places that were built for cars. If we want to change that in the long term, we'll have to build communities that look differently. Right now, Americans drive because it's the most convenient option. But that also means that you don't actually need to transform a whole country to get more people to
Look,
ride public
here's a
transit.
bus that'll take you just to the mall. Just to the mall and the surrounding area. You need transportation so you can do capitalism better, guy.
You just need to make it convenient enough that they want to. Thanks for watching this episode of our 2020 election
You're welcome.
series.
What else is there? Transportation and poverty. All right, we're finally starting to get into the meat of the issue that I started this whole thing for here.
Is the transportation system holding people down?
Ooh. Hey, mommy's baby. Hey.
Hey, did the 24 come?
No.
It ain't come yet, the 124?
The 124 is supposed to be here 9:36.
It ain't come, it still ain't come?
If I spend this $700, $800 on this car right now, and then something happens to it in a week, and it costs $350, there goes the bus right there.
Yes, I would say the transportation system is holding people down. I feel like I know so many young people, so many adults my age and older that had good opportunities for employment, but just couldn't get themselves there on a consistent basis. And then again, the employer, supervisor, they might be understanding the first couple times you come late, but by the third or fourth time, they're gonna let you go, you know? And then even if you kind of get 3 or 4 jobs in the suburbs that pay well, you lose all 3 or 4 of those jobs based on you not having a way to really get there in a consistent way. Then you go for the 5th job. Are you gonna put those other 4 jobs as references for people to call, right? So now if you do put those down, they're gonna call, and the first thing they're gonna say is, well, Sean was a hard worker, but he could never get to work on time, or he missed shifts, which is gonna make the 5th employer say, well, no, I'm not gonna hire you, or I put down I have no work history, And then the employer would tell me, well, you don't have enough experience, right? And again, you try not to look at it like poor versus rich, black versus white, but I mean, we got to be real. You know, all those things intersect the lives that we live. They impact the systems that we live in. I don't want to think it's anything intentional that RTS, you're only outfit in town, so I know you get all the pressure. I don't think you're doing it intentionally, but I do feel like the public transportation system, the way it's set up in Rochester, New York currently, is definitely holding people back from kind of reaching their full potential. All right. So Nasir, Sierra, how do you currently use the public transportation system in Rochester?
On the day in a whole, on my regular day, I definitely think I spend like a good 5 hours on the bus. I'm always on the bus, you know?
If I don't have my therapy session, then 2 hours. But yeah.
So busy day. So you had therapy, DSS, and what?
Oh yeah, I'll spend about a good 6 hours, especially with DSS. That I would say automatically 6 hours on the bus.
I get up in the morning at 6 o'clock, get on the bus and go here and there for about 7 hours. And by the time where I have any other time, I'm getting back on the bus to go home. So it kind of limits everything that I'm doing. I'm always on the bus. I always find myself on this bus, on that bus, on this bus, on that bus, to the point where I don't feel like I'm doing anything else. I'm checking the time to see when the next time the bus comes.
Because like you say, I feel like every day it's a bunch of, I got to plan. I got to wait. I got to catch the bus. If anything breaks down, I got to take an alternate bus. And then like you say, I think people that don't ride the bus, you take that time, that access, those options for granted. You know what I mean? Because obviously you got time. Do you kind of think that transportation or lack thereof, the access to transportation, then affects people living in poverty or trying to get themselves out of poverty?
I'm always on a bus. That's what I'm doing right now. You know, that's just the reality of it. And if I was to talk about like the conditions that the bus are in now, and if that was going to make me progress, then I would say no, because it's like, you know, I'm saving my money, but I'm spending my money, you know, but it's like I keep on cycling. I just keep on going before all of the jobs are all out there. Now I got to lower my income because I got to get this job closer. I have to, though. I have to get a job now.
I work a minimum wage job, $10.75 an hour. If we do the math on that, like I'm really not gaining nothing from this job. And I've been working for a year and I've yet to really save no money.
On the application, I know they say like, how are you going to be getting there? What's your form of transportation? And you put bus, okay? Automatically, they're going to look at where you live at and to where their location is, and you might automatically get put into this spot like, okay, he's in maybe because his transportation is going to be shaken. We know how the buses run out here.
The bus not coming on time, it kind of makes a problem for me because this can be my last straw. And then because of the bus, I may lose my job. So that's the only problem I have with it.
You understand, I just got this job because I wasn't having no source of income. So now you guys just gave me the job. Now I got to figure out a way to get on the bus all the time there. And I have to work a week and a whole to even get that first check. I think it should be more like okay, if we know that their form of transportation is a bus, let's give them a bus pass percentage or something like that.
Yeah.
And then depending on
pay for people to be able to work for you. Just like whenever you go into somewhere people work and you pay for a service, those employees are selling the business a service. When you are an employee, you are selling the business a service. Sure, there may be every other plenty of other people who want jobs, but they're not fucking gods, all right? Like it shouldn't be a non-option for you to work somewhere. Okay, like you should be able to say like, oh, I can afford to do your training period if you can pay for me to live and eat while I'm. You shouldn't spend any time on a company that they're not paying you for. Don't do it. Like if you're sitting there chatting with them, you should be getting paid. If it's not up for debate. Like people are not getting paid enough, and they're not getting paid when they should be.
Are you working for? Hopefully they good people. You know what I mean? Because if they not, you effed, and now you lost the job because you just kind of tried to make a sacrifice, but it failed you. You know what I mean? And it was all because of a bus. It started all over a bus. You know what I mean?
Like once you live in poverty, you live in a concentrated area of poverty, I believe then access to things become a little bit more difficult. So Sierra, I was talking to her yesterday. She makes minimum wage. She works about 20 hours a week. So you figure she's bringing home maybe $150, $160 a week. And so you would think $14 a week for a weekly bus pass would be something that would be pretty easy to save for most folks, right? But I feel like for folks that live in poverty, that $14 becomes a huge amount of money.
I work 2 jobs. I go to DSS appointments, and then I talk to my therapist. So I have to go a lot of places on the bus. Like today, I didn't have money to catch the bus, so I walked. But usually I'll be taking the bus, you know what I mean? So that's always
Imagine
been like
walking
my
to therapy.
transportation.
You get some trauma to unpack on your way there. Great.
Walking to the bus stop. Most of the people there got a car at my job, and then a lot of us take the bus. So, being with that, the ARG team, they give us like 15 minutes ahead. Like they give us 15 minutes to be late. But after that, we can't be no more late than 15 minutes. You see what I'm saying? Because we take a bus, so they courteous of us. People with a car, they have no excuse. There's no excuse for them. So you know what I mean? I don't gotta be to work till 10. Like it's 9:12 right now. The next bus come at 9:14. Then the other one the 124 comes at 9:36. And then the 50 comes at 9:37. So either way, that's a ladybug. I'm trying to get a car, save money, get a car. It's hard paying for paying people to take me places and stuff. Oh, I found a quitter. Good luck. To me, poverty means we are very poor. We're stuck in a place where we can't get out. Now, white, black, Asian, Indian, don't matter. Everybody take the bus, but they really made the buses for people who don't have cars, right? Now, majority of the people who don't got cars are blacks, if you notice. Like right now, it's 9:26, so what I'm gonna have to do is kind of speed it up.
The fact that she has a shirt and works at Arby's that says you're on top of the food chain, that's so ironic. That's fucking
a little bit and pray that the bus
that's
don't
like
come
poetic.
when it's supposed to come. But I come through here, you're gonna see some dudes, you probably may see some dudes like say what up to me. Some of them sell drugs, of course. A lot of dudes over here sell drugs like crazy. That's how they make a living. Can't be mad at them. Sometimes I feel it's irritating because they bring a lot of attention to the area, so it's always police over here. Like, it's 9:31, so we got about 7 minutes. The stigma with the bus too, like, is if you take the bus, you poor as hell. Yeah, I do believe that. Because right now I'm poor. It's about 9:35. Let's see what time the bus comes. Yeah, it come at 9:36 and the other one come at 9:37, so it's 9:35 right now. I just hope we ain't miss it.
How far is the bus stop from her?
It didn't come yet, the 124?
The 124 is supposed to be here 9:36.
It ain't come, it still ain't come? Oh, okay, that's good. We good.
Like out here at this location, the stop isn't like right near a corner. You gotta walk a little bit, and they really don't plow out here, and there's no sidewalks. So people have to get off the bus and literally walk in the street to kind of get where you gotta go. Weekends, it's a little tight, because on Sundays, we do stay open till 10 o'clock in the evening, and the last bus that heads to downtown for some of the folks that do take it leaves at 8 o'clock. They either gotta make another means of transportation, calling a friend, calling a cab, or I hate to say it, I've even seen one kid that even walked. We don't close till 11, and the last bus going to downtown is at 10 after 11, and there's no way you can finish up. So we try to make sure that I personally, especially being the GM, I want to know that my employees get home okay.
Yeah, that's a good manager right there. She knows what she's working with, and she's perfectly willing to work with you, it sounds like. Damn, man.
Baby. Hi.
Interesting edit.
Well, I have 2 sons and then my boyfriend, and then I have 2 stepsons. So I have, 4 kids all together. My stepson's normally here on the weekends, but for the most part, it's just me and the 2 boys, and then my boyfriend during the week. I work for Frontier Communications. I pretty much write orders for telephone numbers that's porting out of Frontier, or replying back to emails all day.
How long have you been working there?
A little over a year and a half.
That was a weird edit.
Oh yes, it's a real good job. Very easy work. You smiling on camera? Yes. Let everybody see them smiles.
It would have been great if they
boy,
could have
you're
turned down the
Rochester.
gain on her so I don't hear so much of her mouth noises. That would have been fantastic.
I hardly get
but
the time to see anyone. I pretty much stay home.
Don't-
It's too much.
If you're making an interview, if you're doing an interview and you can avoid it, don't have their children there. But you could do like an insert shot of them like with their child or something. But like, could you have a producer like maybe like I don't know, take the kid to a park or something while the mom like just does that video for I don't know.
Going on in Rochester to go out and be in the streets.
There's so much audio wise going wrong there.
It's too many murders going on. I have my 2 kids, and I just want to be well and alive enough to be able to take care of them and watch them grow. I feel like my best bet doing that is I go to work and come home. That's pretty much what my life consists of. And I come home and take care of my kids, cook dinner. Sometimes my son's homework is done. If his homework is not done, I'll help him with homework, but that's pretty much the gist of it all, even on the weekends. My son is an asthmatic, so if there's an instance where his asthma's acting up, I don't like to risk even waiting to catch the bus with him. I have to just go straight out and call an ambulance to come and pick us up, because I don't want his asthma to get so bad while waiting on the bus. It just takes so long to get places sometimes. Like getting my son to the hospital, catching the bus, from wherever I'm at to my son's school and to the hospital, it typically takes me about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. So it's just so much easier sometimes to just say forget it and catch the ambulance. I have to work around the bus schedule. Everything I do, I have to work around the bus schedule. Like, I wanted to go to Wegmans this evening, and I can't even do that because, of course, by the time I get back home, it will be too late. I'll go there. It'll only take me maybe 10, 15 minutes to get what I need, but I will have to sit there and wait 1 hour for the bus to come back. And by then, it's gonna be time for my oldest son to go to bed and, get ready for school in the morning. And like I said, I don't know if he's done his homework, so I have to make sure his homework is done and all that. So I just don't have time to, do that sort of things during the week. Chump. Oops.
That's cute. Glass.
Be careful with that. First of all, we'll be out of this neighborhood. I hate this neighborhood. I live across the street from a strip bar, right by the corner of the street that has all these prostitutes and drug dealers around. I go to the store and have to worry about someone asking me for money and for change, and it's just me growing up. My mother was able to send me to the store. No problem, didn't have any worries. I can't do the same with my kids. I always have to worry about who's gonna try to talk to them or who's gonna try and kidnap them. And this neighborhood is just terrible. It's consistently, you hear loud music all the time, and it's not safe here.
With the bus, it's like sometimes you get put in uncomfortable situations where you really don't want to be at. Like you run into certain people that you really don't like and stuff like that. But I got arrested downtown before, stuff like that, all that type of stuff because of stuff that I didn't want to be around, but I still got to handle and do what I got to do. I take the bus everywhere I go. I take the bus everywhere I go, to all of my appointments and everything. Starting off my day as normal. Going to get on the bus. I gotta go down to DSS today. Might stop by my grandma's house, pick up little things. 10:44. The bus is now a minute late. So usually what I do.
Yeah, homework is classes.
The bus isn't here yet. There's these numbers on the bus that you can text. And you can text them to your phone, and it'll tell you when the bus is coming, when the next bus for you will be at your bus stop. And you're like, no bus data. For assistance, please call.
No bus.
Sometimes the numbers
no data.
Tell you when the next bus will be coming. I'll be going back to MCC this fall semester, so I've been on the bus a lot, going back out from my house to the Brighton campus, trying to just get my financial aid in order and stuff like that. So the bus is in a lot of my plans right now. Regular all day, please. So you always see people that you know. You always see people that you know on the bus, Sometimes good, sometimes bad. You got somebody chasing the bus too. He was probably already at this bus stop. He seen that the bus is coming late, so he's trying to get to another bus stop. So like, see, look, probably a blood going on. They rushing on the bus.
As I got older, my pride really stopped me from running like that. I'd be mad though, you feel me? I used to be young and chasing the bus. Big on the side of the window. Like, yo, I'm chasing you. And sometimes you got the bus drivers that's like, look, they might be on a time schedule or they might be running late. And they like, look, I gotta get there, I'm sorry. So it's like if I wake up in the morning and I know that I don't have money to get on the bus, I have to work double time now
to be dressed and out of the house at 6 o'clock, so I could at least maybe walk from my house to downtown. Then when I get to the transit center, ask them like, look, this is my situation. Is there a possibility I get a Mercy bus pass? Just at least last week when I was going to sign up for my financial aid, I got up in the morning. I had my $3 to get on the bus. I did. And one of my dollar bills ripped. So when I get on the bus now, I only have $2. Dude that was running the bus kind of really wasn't lenient with my situation. I used $1 to get to the transit center. I used another $1 to get out of MCC, because like I said, but now it's like I'm out there at MCC and I have no way to get on the bus to get back home, so. And like money's always been tight for us because we never want anyone to fall short. Like even this morning, like, you know, I told my mom, I told her last night, like, yeah, I'm probably gonna do the videotaping thing for the bus in the morning. She's like, all right. So helped her cook and stuff last night, get the little ones ready. I know they got school coming up. And then so I told her, I was like, I'm gonna need $3 to get on the bus in the morning. And that's always a tight thing, because it's like, okay, if I need $3 to get on the bus, then I know my 2 sisters need $3 to get on the bus to go to work, you know? So then it's like kind of one of those balancing things. It's like, well, I can't let the girls, you know, miss work and stuff like that, because that's work. That's the source of income for the whole household. But then it's like, I understand you're trying to do this too, so let me see how I can balance it out. So what I told her, I said, okay, give me $3 to get on the bus. I'll get the all-day bus pass, and then I'll be back home before like 1 o'clock where they have to go to work, and then I'll just get my all-day bus pass. But the bus is a good thing for us because we only have one car, so there's been sometimes all of us have to go to work. We all got to work at 5 o'clock, all of us. Me, my twin, my 2 younger twins, and my mom. We all got to be to work. I work down there on Genesee Arnett, so that's that way. My mom's boyfriend works at the airport, so that's that way. My mom works at the Episcopal Church Home, which is over like by Plymouth area. And then my 2 sisters work at McDonald's out by Marketplace Mall. So it's like, okay, we got to figure out how we're going to get you here and everyone has to be on time. If you're a first-time person getting on the bus, you should come to the transit center. You got everybody down here to help you and stuff like that. It's even people like, a person like me, I get on the bus every day. So people see me down here all the time and they come ask me what bus to get on and stuff like that. How you doing today? Here, if we go over here, I want to show you this thing over here. And if you like, when you buy a bus pass on the bus, you have to use it, you gotta use it for that day. Like the bus pass that I just purchased on the bus for $3, that's only good enough for the day. There's been times I need bus pass for tomorrow, so you just come up here and they got pretty much every bus pass you can buy. 2 riders, all days, 5 days, monthly bus passes. This right here though, this is Bus Schedule Central. I usually need the MCC because I'm always going back and forth to MCC with school. The East Ave bus because I go to group by Huther Doyle right on East Avenue. So I always need this one. This is St. Paul for when I go to my grandma's house or if I'm going to DSS. If you know where you gotta go, you come down here or over there. They got like a huge touchscreen map. You go there and put your location in there, tell you how to get on the bus. You always run into people that you know. Like that girl right there that I was just talking to, me and her went to middle school together. I haven't seen her since I was like 16. And I ran into her in the transit center. Like, there'd be a lot of people down here, How old are you now? I'm 20 now. 20, going to 21. That's another thing that keeps me like, man, I gotta get off this bus, I gotta get a car. It's like I turned 21 this year, I gotta have a car. I don't even care if it isn't registered yet. As long as I can have a car for myself to be sitting in my driveway, then I'm fine. Because the bus is just, there's nothing, I don't have anything against the bus. That's what I don't. I like the bus. But yeah, then because like this is the only thing, the idle time as far as you gotta wait for the bus, waiting for your bus to come, because a lot of things can happen within this idle time. I've seen the transit center get shut down because somebody had a gun in here. It's been brawls out here, mad crazy stuff.
Just a thought, relax.
It's our stop.
Hakuna Matata, African Bambaataa. You know how we were talking about, one of the things I explained about the bus is you might get on the bus and you might run into somebody, that you don't like. The young man on the bus right there, me and him aren't too fond of each other and stuff like that. So it's like, those are daily decisions that you make, because you're never going to determine who's going to be on the bus when you get on the bus, or who's going to be at your bus stop when you get off the bus stop. So that's kind of like one of the hard things, because I felt like, you know, I wanted to say something and stuff like that, but then it's like one of those things. Like, I got to make it down here to DSS. I got to handle my business. So who says that I might not say the wrong thing to him, then me and him are arguing, now we're fighting, now they're asking me to get off the bus way down there, and I got an appointment here in 10 minutes that I got to make, so. I'm literally about to run here for like 2 seconds to come right back on, like 5 minutes.
If you could impact one thing that will kind of change everything else, I really do believe it's like people living in poverty. I do feel like, you know, the amount of money that comes into your family, that comes to your household, kind of helps determine in some ways the options you have in life.
No, I do not have any money saved up. I literally have $52 to my name right now on my account. Me and my boyfriend, we do want to get married. We plan on getting married, but it's hard to save up money to even plan for a wedding at this point, because it's just, we have so much to pay, and it's barely, we don't even have enough money to buy our own car to get around anywhere. We have to catch the bus everywhere.
How much are you making?
It's $16 an hour.
Some people go from taking the bus or whatever, getting a job and taking the bus to getting a car. And then I know some people that just gonna be taking the bus forever, like probably me. And I'm spending damn near $30 on the bus every week just to make it to work. I don't see that. I don't see no solution as of right now.
I'll be honest, I got about like $100 saved up, but that's literally like emergency money, like emergency. So right now, what I'm really saving up for, I'm really saving up to get a car. Definitely saving up to get a car. I seen this nice two-door Saturn that I want, only for $700. So I'm trying to save up my money to get a car.
When you live in poverty, and sometimes the conditions that we live through as people of color, I think the negativity gets normalized. So I think it is an acceptance of my only way I can really get myself around is RTS. So that I enjoy and appreciate about the system. But then I think when you really do sit back and look at it more critically, you kind of say, well, wait a minute, it's not really supporting me in the way I need, it's just what's there, so I gotta kind of like take that option.
I've gotten to where I've gotta be. I've gotten up in the morning, going to work, going home from work, changed it to whatever attire I would like to be in for the night, and then still left. And went and, you know, did whatever I was gonna do for the night and go home. All for $3. I've been in the car with some people and see them have to stop 3 times to put $10 worth of gas in their car. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the only good thing about taking a bus is that $3 will get you an all-day pass to go everywhere in town. You just have to work on their schedule.
And if you've kind of had, you know, your grandparents maybe got some bad breaks and kind of got into a bad cycle, and then they had your mom and dad, and then they kind of inherited some of that stuff, and then they have kids, it's kind of like, you know, someone's gonna have to kind of like break the cycle. I think we gotta do something different as a city of Rochester, state of New York, the country that is the United States, because I feel like we can all collectively kind of see that kind of way things have been going for the last 20, 30 years. Now, right now, don't really seem to be working too well.
That was really well made. I enjoyed that a lot. I didn't enjoy all the suffering, but I enjoyed the content. So that's my stream for the night. It's not the fun sciencey history stuff that I normally do, but I was just kind of fed up today with the system, I guess, the society we live in, whatever. And I just wanted to briefly outline some parts of how transportation is a huge part of seizing opportunities, pulling yourself out of homelessness, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps or whatever, and being able to get to the place where people can see you pull your bootstraps up in the first place is one of the biggest parts of even being able to do that. And it's really not fair that the only thing keeping a large amount of people from actually managing to succeed in their lives is just access to a bus. And I think we can do better. So we're going to go ahead and raid somebody. Let's see who's on. Raid. 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 Who we got? Let's do Zendris. All right. And yep. We're going to go ahead and go. Thank you for joining me. I hope you had a great time. I love you. And yeah, have a beautiful time.
I'm out of here. All right.